One of the few things which I kind of picked up on, which I thought was probably somewhat interesting in terms of what might change, is the fact that we're going to see probably a reduction in EU migrants possibly into Northern Ireland, which means that's a 38,000 workers realistically. At the moment, we have 38,000 EU workers who are not from the south. So I would assume that's the kind of, if we took that on and kind of thought, right, okay, and I believe 20% of them are low skill workers, from what I read earlier. So we're actually looking at a decent amount of people who possibly are filling very important jobs in Northern Ireland, and that's where I maybe somewhat worry, because we're a country that, I mean, any young person will be able to tell you, we leak a lot of high skilled people. They move to the south or England, depending on how ambitious they are. They'll move other places, while the EU is actually giving us an intake of somewhat high skilled workers at times. I think that's going to be something which might change quite drastically after this, in terms of where we have to, at the very least, in terms of how we employ highly skilled workers, but also even just some low skilled jobs. I'm sure might even see a lot less EU workers, which I don't actually think is necessarily going to be them. It's not going to be as simple as just replacing those with Northern Irish workers, in my opinion anyway. I think it'll be a more difficult issue where there might not just be people skilled enough for some areas. I don't know. I might just be talking nonsense there.
I think you raised a really interesting point on where do we get our workers from, especially when you look at the Northern Ireland Civil Service recently coming out the other day and reporting that they need 1,500 people to fill positions. They're currently that understaffed. So I think within the NI labour market, we are seeing these shortages, and where do we get them from? In a post-Brexit world, will we see them come from the likes of Canada, Australia? Normally it's the other way around. We're normally sending our people out there, that intelligentsia leaving. So it's going to be a hard one to combat, and who will want to work in a country that now is essentially adrift between the EU and the UK. Either way, it's going to be a hard one to sell, I think, in that regard.
Yeah.
And to be fair to the executive and the Stormont, well, not to be fair, it was their fault to an extent, but they haven't had the time or the opportunity to really discuss these issues over the last 3 or 4 years. Not due to the executive being closed and Stormont not functioning for 3 years, and then the year that they are functioning, the whole world is being put on hold fighting this deadly pandemic. So politicians' time hasn't been directed to sorting out Brexit. While it has been a key issue, I think it's been put on the back burner here and not really been allowed to be discussed into great detail.
Yeah, I think it's obvious that the past, I can't even tell how long it's been at this stage, 8 months, 9 months, I can't remember anymore, have been nearly all government departments about to have all their planning abilities focused on COVID for a decent chunk of that. You can only have so much planning power within the civil service and those kind of departments. So whenever you have a mass pandemic where everything has to change, literally everything from the ground up has to change in terms of how you function, and then you have to then make the realization that, oh wait, we also now need to have a ground up look at how we now do trade with the EU, how we deal with borders, how we approach writing over an awful lot of laws in terms of human rights and all those various other parts of EU law, which we've been told will be transferred over to the UK and Northern Ireland. And it's not as simple as transferring those laws by just copy and pasting them from one Word document into another. It's not. It's something that can be taken advantage of quite easily as well.
It'll be interesting.
I think the issue which I would ask you about, James. Oh wait, no, you go ahead.
Go on. It's fine. Go on.
I was going to actually ask about tourism. I feel like it's probably the one aspect which is actually no. I've got a better question which I'm going to ask.
Okay.
Can we actually tell, due to the economic impact which has come with COVID, are we actually going to be able to tell or distinguish between the impact of COVID and the impact of Brexit?
That is a great question, which I have never thought of.
Yeah,
I don't know. I would assume we'll be able to see the difference in those that trade, because obviously some businesses have been shut down and have been able to trade. How will
yeah,
that be affected in a post-Brexit world now with new legislation and new forms to fill out? Which, for anybody who is in tune with the media, they've heard the advertisements and seen it on television and radio about businesses who need to be prepared for January 1st. But I was reading a report today with the National Farmers Union in Northern Ireland, and only 4 out of 140 knew about any legislation changes that were occurring. They are horribly underprepared for this. They don't know what's coming next. They don't really have a grasp of what Brexit will really do to their day-to-day business. But change is coming. So I think we'll be able to see the operations, how that affects their output. But in terms of an economy, I think the COVID and Brexit lines might be a bit blurred, for definitely within the first year and a half.
yeah.